After home state humbling, the question now is, what's Nikki Haley running for? Trump's defeat of ex-governor in South Carolina raises question of why she's staying in the race. It's become a recurring joke in recent Nikki Haley campaign speeches, where she dismisses various theories about why she's still in the U.S. presidential race. Questions about her continued participation will only escalate after her lopsided defeat in her own state of South Carolina, as Donald Trump appeared headed for a roughly 20-point victory margin over Haley, the state's former governor. This is after Haley already invited the media earlier in the week to a decidedly unusual announcement for a candidate. She's not dropping out. Haley has lost the first 4 states. She even lost the race in Nevada, where Trump didn't appear on the ballot, with Republicans there opting for none of these candidates. She's now lost in her own state of South Carolina by a wide margin, and she's trailing him by dozens of points in national polls. Does she want to be Trump's running mate? Haley laughs off the idea in recent speeches, given how their relationship has soured. He regularly refers to her as bird brain. Donald Trump and his supporters cast the primaries as over. He has avoided mentioning Haley in his latest speeches. Alyssa Pointer, Reuters. Is she setting up a future run? The news outlet Politico speculates as much. Or is she trying to build a brand outside politics? I think she's running for a board seat. Republican strategist Terry Sullivan told a podcast titled, "What's Nikki Haley's Endgame?" Or perhaps, he added, maybe she's going to be a TV host on The View. There's one scenario Haley doesn't mention in those stump speeches, and it's the one likeliest to emerge in conversation with political insiders. It's the possibility that she's running to cement her status as a Plan B, as a backup should Trump be forced off the ticket, either by a health setback or by winding up in jail following a conviction in one of his criminal cases. This scenario will continue to animate conversation after her home state defeat, as Haley promises to stay in the race at least through Super Tuesday on March 5th. 24 state primaries will have happened by then, half the country. Haley said it's clear from her approximate 40% score in South Carolina that many Republicans want an alternative to Trump. I have a duty to give them that choice, Haley said in a buoyant speech Saturday night. Today is not the end of our story. We're heading to Michigan tomorrow. Talking to primary voters, it's clear that Haley supporters want her staying in. Some of these Haley supporters are Democrats, a higher than usual number crossing partisan lines to vote in this year's Republican primaries. I'm here to vote against Donald Trump, said retired Brooklyn schoolteacher Diane Spignardo, a Democrat who now lives in South Carolina and voted in the Republican primary outside Charleston on Saturday. I don't trust Trump with our democracy. If he implodes, she's a much more viable, caring person than Trump. Andy Hagedorn calls himself a libertarian who would grudgingly vote for Joe Biden in November to stop Trump. On Saturday, he ticked the box for Haley. I'm voting against somebody today, he said in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, outside a polling station. It's my belief that that little lying Trump doesn't deserve another 4 years. He just hoped Haley might gain a slight bump in South Carolina and through Super Tuesday. Enough of a bump that she can stay in, as long as her campaign coffers hold out. But it's not just Democrats. Haley as Plan B could be a long shot. Republicans voiced a similar sentiment at a Haley rally, a categorical wish that Haley might linger in if only for that Plan B scenario. I think she should stay in the whole way if she can, because you don't ever know what's going to happen, Becky Ward Curtis said outside a rally in Georgetown, South Carolina, on Thursday. You don't know that he's going to be on the ballot, or if something's going to happen with him. She voted for Trump before, but said she's sick of him and the way he treats people. She blames him for injecting a toxicity into politics unlike anything she's seen in her 77 years. Now comes a preemptive reality check. There's no indication that even in the above scenario of an emergency replacement, the party would ever turn to Haley. For starters, it's entirely possible, probable even, that Trump would insist on staying in, even in the event of a criminal conviction. And some Republican observers say it's hard to imagine the party turning to Haley in the event of the other scenario, a Trump health setback. The party would likelier turn to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, said Sullivan. Let's say Donald Trump gets hit by a meteor, or choking on a Big Mac. Do you think everybody else will be like, oh yeah, that's cool. Sure, no problem. Go ahead, Nikki Haley.